From WFRV TV, Local 5, serving Northeast Wisconsin, including Green Bay, Fox Cities, and the Lakeshore. This is Newsmaker Sunday.
Good morning. Welcome to Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zalaski. Well, this morning we are talking school consolidation in the Green Bay Area Public School District, an issue whose ingredients include finances, aging facilities, the redrawing of boundaries, and more than just a little bit of emotion on the parts of parents and students. And joining me this morning, two people who are at ground zero on this issue. Perhaps sometimes they feel like it's the eye of the storm. It is interim school superintendent Vicki Beyer and Lori Blakesley, the district's director of communications and public relations. Ladies, both of you, good morning. Thank you so much for being here today. Much appreciated. Before we get into the particulars of the plan, the consolidation, overall picture of our district, how many students first do we have in the district?
We're right over 19,000 students right now. Right? Is it?
Around 19.
Yeah.
And where do we stand statewide, Green Bay versus other bigger cities?
We're the fourth largest district in the state.
Fourth we are. And our budget, what do you guesstimate our school budget to be?
Overall budget is about $360 million.
Wow.
Right.
And our school board, we are made up of how many members and how long do they serve?
We have 7 members and they serve 3-year terms.
7 members, 3-year terms. So now you are grappling with this school consolidation, you're redrawing boundaries. You didn't ask for this problem. It's in your lap and you have to deal with it. How did we get to this point that you now have to deal with this issue? What's happening out there?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Districts should, on a regular basis, take a look at their boundaries. This is something that should happen maybe every 3 to 5 years on a regular basis. Yeah. For our district specifically, it hasn't been done in at least 20?
Over 20.
Really,
20 years. So it's a healthy thing for any district to take a look at, especially a larger district, how the boundaries are working for them. One of the catalysts for us, though, is the facilities master planning that happened. We started this back in about 2016. It's been a long process.
It's been a long process, yep.
So couple that with a budget deficit. Last time we spoke, maybe 18 months ago, we were facing a $36 million deficit at that time. So facilities master planning actually happened prior to that, but it allowed us to address the deficit by looking at consolidating some schools. So this is just another portion of that work.
Okay, not to badmouth or besmirch past administrations, but did past administrations kick this can down the road, so to speak, or did our district just change so radically and so drastically in very recent times that it just came upon you this quickly?
Can you speak to
Sure.
past boundary?
So when we did the 2017 referendum, so that would have been, we'd have passed that in April of 2017. So leading up to that, the district had been on every year was continuing to grow. Starting in 2017, we started to see a decline in enrollment, and that became a trend, right? So we weren't sure what we were seeing at first, but year after year it started to show that it was a trend. As well as we started to see birth rates declining in Wisconsin, as well as they're declining nationwide. And so it wasn't that it got kicked down the can as much as work got started, COVID happened, and that sort of put everything kind of on pause for a while, and then we've been trying to pick that up now once we've gotten past COVID and sort of all the things that need to be done after that.
At the top of the show, I mentioned this was an emotional time for both students and for parents. What do you say to people who are watching this morning who are going through this process? How do you tell them what do you need to tell them as to why it needs to be done?
Right now in the district, we have 1 out of every 4 classroom student seats empty. That's going to continue, and it'll be 1 out of every 3 by...
I think it's 10 years out from now.
Unless we address the fact that we have too many schools.
Yeah.
So that's part of the issue. When we have the district spread out such as it is, and with fewer students, we have a harder time providing services to the students in those schools. So through consolidation, for example, we have 3 schools that will be consolidating for next school year. when those students from Tank, Weequahic, Keller transition into their new school, there will be greater student services, for example. So more counselor services available to them, social worker services available to them.
So how do you ease the fears of these people, which are understandable, understandable fears? How do you ease their fears, and are you working with them through this transition period?
This part, well, if we talk about the schools that are already planning to consolidate, I can tell you with great confidence that our teachers in those buildings and their principals are working very closely with our parents to help with the transition. They're doing a lot of communication and getting buddies between the two schools, so they're familiar with who they're going to be going to school with next school year. They've done field trips. They're having open houses so the parents can come in and get to know that school. So there are those things happening.
And what's been the reaction from what you've seen?
What I hear from the teachers and the principals is that it's been very positive. In addition, in June, we're going to have celebration of the schools that are closing.
Correct, June 9th. So that Sunday we will have the 3 schools open for a period between 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Various schools will be opened at different times during that for families to come in, past students, neighbors, take a final walk through, kind of celebrate, you know, everything that's happened with that within that school. The principals are working on pulling together old yearbooks, you know, memorabilia. So it'll be a nice opportunity for people to have that final farewell with our schools.
All right, we have much more to come, the plan and the public input and much more, so please stay right there. Back now with Green Bay Interim School Superintendent Vicki Beyer and Communications Director Lori Blakesley. We are talking about the plan to consolidate schools in the Green Bay Public School District. Recent news coverage of the proposed consolidation touched on some recurring themes. I want to ask you on a few of them. One that we touched on already, the declining enrollment. Survey says over the next 10 years, we're going to have a 12% declining enrollment here in the Green Bay area public school district. Where are these people going? Where are these kids going? I thought normally you have growth in a community. Where's that 12%?
Well, so we're seeing smaller families. We're seeing fewer birth rates. So that's a big part of it. I think people think that our declining enrollment is due to open enrollment, but really our open enrollment has stayed pretty steady over the years. I will say I think vouchers also have an impact. We've seen that number increase over the years as well, but not dramatically. And so a lot of it really just stems from just fewer kids.
How much of an issue is aging facilities in this whole plan?
Oh, quite a bit.
Is it?
Yeah. The facilities master plan did an analysis of every single one of our buildings and gave us an idea of how much it would cost to provide some improvements, or like the case with MacArthur Elementary, which is a beautiful building and a beautiful community there. It would cost too much to go ahead with those improvements. So the recommendation from Facilities Task Force for that school, for example, was to take it down.
Yeah. And the way we are using these schools now, which are not full, how is that affecting your budget? I mean, could the money be better used?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have what are called one-track schools, which means there's one first grade, one second grade, one third grade. Those are typically smaller class sizes then, which is wonderful for our students and for our staff, but we can't afford it. When we can consolidate schools and have 2-track, 3-track, 4-track, 5-track, not only does it allow for more balanced classroom sizes, but also teacher collaboration can increase as well.
Early on in this idea, there was some talk about moving the headquarters, your headquarters,
right,
from Broadway to who knows where. A new facility would have alleviated what problems over there? What would have been better?
Yeah, I don't think anything.
No?
I don't think that would have helped, but we're certainly always open to consideration of what that might look like. Some of the recommendations had been to spread district office staff out into the schools,
sure,
which nobody's opposed to. It would impact our ability to collaborate, but that's not a hill we want to die on. If it helps the district, we would certainly do some things like that.
Yeah. What I found interesting was, before people found out how much that move would have cost. A survey came out that said 78% of the public said yes to a move of headquarters. I mean, like they were on your side, even though they don't know what's in there, they don't know what your working conditions are.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was the case, that you had that overwhelming
support for that?
Support for that.
I think because it has the least amount of impact on our children, which is what we should all be supporting.
Yeah. And even though people really didn't hear of any problems within that facility, they were still overwhelmingly on your side on that. I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
We are coming back with much more and to take a look at the maps right after this, so please stay with us. Back now with Interim School Superintendent Vicki Beyer and Communications Director Lori Blakesley and the proposal to consolidate some schools in Green Bay. I want to show a graphic of this plan that we are talking about here on the program this morning. And as we show it, Vicki, if you could give us just a general idea of what it is that we're looking at here.
Sure. The initial proposal that the Boundary Committee has presented for public comment has us add four additional 4K through 8th grade schools. So Washington Middle School would convert to a 4K. Langlade would become a 4K. McCullough out on the east side, and then Franklin on the west side.
Mm-hmm. And there were two plans. You had Wolpert, your consulting firm, come in. Mm-hmm. They presented two plans. Were they radically different? Were they close? Did the public favor one over the other? What did you notice there?
We're still gathering public feedback. The only difference between the two scenarios that they've proposed is Franklin either becoming a 4K through 8th grade or a 4K through 6th grade.
Okay.
If they went with the 6th grade, 4K through 6th at Franklin, that means that West High School would become a 7th through 12th grade. And we'd also have to add 6th grade to Fort Howard and Lincoln Elementaries.
Okay. You mentioned public input. Mm-hmm. You had a series of meetings in mid-March over at the Neville Public Museum. Right. Public was invited. What was the purpose of the meetings first?
That was the beginning of gathering feedback. We wanted to make sure that Wolpert had an opportunity to present the scenarios and respond to any questions that the community had. And then the community had opportunity to use a QR code, and it took them to a survey so they could send right to us feedback. They can also, even up until this time, send emails to the Board of Education to respond. Correct. And we have it on our district website as well, Lori?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Now, as you well know, there were some parents who felt that in spite of the fact that these were public input meetings, mm-hmm. that the decisions had already been made, despite their input.
Yeah.
I take it you would not agree with that.
This is hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that earlier. And I want to go back to that for a second. I had shared that the feedback has been really good about the consolidation, but that doesn't mean there isn't pain and hurt and sadness about closing a school. It's the same with this. And I think when you're changing boundaries for an entire district, it's complicated because you don't know how it's personally going to impact you. Maybe I'll have to, if I've got a first grader now, how many years out and what elementary would they be going to? Is that going to change? Those are all really important questions to be asking. We are far from making a decision. The Board of Education will be presented in June, the recommendations from the Boundary Committee, and then they can go in a million different directions from there.
You are ahead of me on my next. No, that's good. On my next set of questions here, parents, are they mainly concerned about the loss of community? Is it the change in their family schedules? Is it transportation? Where are we hearing the most resistance?
Yeah, I'm going to start, and then I'd love to hear what you say for this one. I think it's if they've already projected, okay, my student's going to go here for elementary, here for middle, here for high school, and now that might change, that's scary. Right. Because they've already been thinking about what's the climate there, are my neighbors going to be there, who are the friends, how are their sporting teams. So I think that's scary for our parents. The goal with, one of the goals with the boundary work is to make it make sense, so that, you know, in the past, maybe Mason would be a road that was split, so if some students would be on one side, some on the other. We're trying to use those major roads as the boundary, so that it's a little cleaner and it makes more sense transportation-wise. But the transportation is a concern for our parents as well.
Yeah.
Anything over 2 miles, we transport automatically. So how would you have answered that question?
I would answer it the same way. I think the friends are a big issue. But one of the things that's available on our website and within the survey tool itself is the boundary locator. And so families can type in their address and it will show them what, if any, changes happen due to the boundary changes that are being proposed in this first round. And so they're able to see, you know, does anything actually change?
Okay, and you've got to reconfigure all your bus routes too.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's got to be a nightmare.
Right. The team in Transportation Department is working on that right now to determine financial impact and what that's going to look like.
Overall, when you have these public meetings and you have the input, and some people like it, some people don't like it, in general, does the public understand that we need to do something? And you know, it's a tough pill to swallow, but they do understand we got to do something here.
I think they do.
Yeah, I think that what I have heard in various places is that this has been a long process, right? And that some decisions just need to be made. And so again, I think people realize that we're not all going to like the decisions that are finally made because they are, you know, difficult, especially if they're impacting you. But I think that this has been going on for a long time, and I think you know, having a plan that people can see what it looks like, and that's the ultimate goal here, is that this is right now is just conceptual, but it's to get to something where people can really see what does this really look like, not just from a what are the boundaries, but what does it mean as far as, you know, what size would these K-8s be? You know, how many students would be in them? Where would they be located, so that I can see if I live in the neighborhood, does it how's the traffic going to impact my house, right? So I think like more details have to be put around these so that people can feel confident that as the board goes forward to make a decision, that they truly understand what impact it'll have on them.
We are back to wrap up right after this, so please stay right there. Back now with Interim School Superintendent Vicki Beyer and Communications Director Lori Blakesley to continue our conversation on the proposal to consolidate some of the schools in Green Bay. One of the messages you've been driving home throughout this process is that diversity is going to play a major role in your decisions. How so?
Part of the goal, and actually the direction from the Board of Education, was to make sure that whatever boundary recommendations are brought forward, that equity is taken into consideration. Demographics are taken into consideration. Special education needs, multilingual language learners. So that's been a driving force of a lot of these decisions. And we talked about this last time too, that the goal is whatever decisions are made, wherever the kids and teachers go, it's going to be better than what they had before. And we're committed to that. So improvements upon the facilities, renewed focus on the academics. So we are committed to that, and I believe we're going to be able to pull that off.
You've been on this process for some time now, and as we mentioned a little bit earlier, parents are kind of used to the fact that, yes, there will be changes. In a way, is that a good thing? You've given them so much time, because now they have time to plan. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we have to do. Yeah,
I don't even know how to answer that. I think sometimes it's better just to do it, so you don't have that anxiety of, wow, when's it going to happen?
Yeah.
But it's a good point about the planning.
I mean, I know I as a parent would like to know as much in advance as I could, so I could start to get my ducks in order.
Right, and so I think it's important, because I think one of the things that we have seen is anxiety over what's the timeline, right? I think people are worried like this is going to happen next year. And so I think what's first is important is that many of these boundary changes can't happen without a referendum. So we would need a capital referendum so that those schools could be built, and additions needed on some of them, right? As well as, and so that's a multi-year process, right? So we're really looking at the majority of this, if it were to move forward, wouldn't even happen until probably the 27-28 school year.
So you mentioned a timeline. When do you hope this is all going to be said and done?
Everything being done?
Yeah.
I would say 5 to 10 years.
Right.
That long of a process.
Right.
And when it is all said and done, what does it look like? Are parents on board? Has everyone adapted? Are we all going home happy?
Yeah. Ideally, I think our parents, our staff, and our students will be going into schools that meet their needs.
Yeah. It is quite the undertaking for both of you and your entire staff. Thank you both so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Much appreciated. And if you have a newsmaker in your town who you think that we should have on the show, let us know about it. Send us an email to tips@wearegreenbay.com, or you can message us on Facebook. And be sure to join us once again Sunday morning, 7:30. Until then, have a great day.